Hello world. Welcome to Top Trends. Today we will present to you the top 10 people with unbelievable extra body parts. If it happens to you in the womb, it could threaten your health forever. It could mean that you were conceived with a twin but something went horribly wrong. If it's visible at a glance, it could mean you will have eyes on you everywhere you go for the rest of your life, through no fault or effort of your own, which could be either a blessing or a curse. Or it could even be a bewildering surprise you don't even suspect until well into adulthood. That's just a sample of what having an extra organ means to many people. Here are some of the vastly different effects this has had on people's lives.
Number 10.
People have a primal fear of losing their teeth, which is why it's common in nightmares well into people's adulthoods when baby teeth falling out is a distant memory. So imagine how much worse it is to lose not just the first set, but some of the second. That's what NBC contributor Kavita Varma White of Fort Lauderdale, Florida described her son as having. In his case it was an extra pair of incisors, the pointy teeth that are usually 3 teeth over from the front, that had to go. The condition is called having supernumerary teeth, and according to a 1999 study by the Canadian Dental Association, 0.8% of participants had supernumerary teeth. There's a chance that your graduating class had at least a few people with them.
Number 9.
This man from Danbury, Connecticut has a rare condition much more severe than the previous entry. The condition is called hereditary exostosis, and it caused him to grow an estimated 92 bones in addition to the usual 206 all throughout his body, particularly around his joints and ribcage. 42 of them were removed via multiple surgeries by 2010, and some were about the size of a TV remote control. Azir's surgeries have had severe consequences, such as one in his teenage years which resulted in a severed nerve and numbness in one of his legs. When he worked as a claims adjuster for Geico, he would often use his condition to try help improve the outlook of people who'd been in severe accidents. Azir passed his condition on to all 3 of his children, but they are not reported to have had significant problems as a result of it since it was not the dominant gene.
Number 8.
If a person has more than 3 of an organ which they should only have 2 of, that alone is enough to make people uncomfortable. If a person has 4, that's so unusual that it can become national news. But having 5 kidneys? Hamilton, New Zealand lawyer Brigham Nordstrom found out in 2009 when he went to the hospital for a kidney infection at the age of 28 that he is the only known person in history to have that many. Better yet, each one is fully functional. For those wondering if he would sell any for cash or health reasons, he was specifically advised against it by doctors, barring an emergency, for fear removing any of them would risk interfering with his nervous system. Just remember Dan Azir's severed leg nerve for proof of that.
Number 7.
Ivy-Mark syndrome can result in physical problems so bizarre that they sound like a child is making them up of the top of their head. In the case of this girl from Sturbridge, England, it meant that she was born with her stomach on the wrong side of her body, her liver was misaligned, her heart was so out of place that if she exerted herself you could see her heartbeat in her back, in addition to having a hole in it, 2 left lungs, and most bizarre of all, she had 5 spleens. For those who don't know, the spleen is the organ that filters infections and dead cells from the bloodstream. Having 4 extra of them is likely the largest number of extra organs a person has ever had that most people only have 1 of. Despite her doctor's natural belief that she would not survive, as of 2009 at age 6, she was in good health aside from being unable to take part in strenuous activities.
Number 6.
This relief pitcher who began his 10-year career in the MLB in 1997 with the Florida Marlins probably wishes he could have been better known for being the 2000 leader his league in saves, totaling an extremely impressive 45. Unfortunately, he's best known for having 6 fingers on both of his hands as well as an extra toe on each foot, as an article run in The Onion about how he led major league relievers in fingers will attest. The fingers were so small that Alfonseca said they did not interfere with his pitching, even though they were not functional at all. They sit off to the side of the pinky, after all. To give an idea how openly insensitive people would be about things like this only a couple decades ago, He was given the nickname the Octopus. It's hard to tell if that or Jigsaw Girl is worse.
Number 5.
Everyone else on this list was born with their extra tissue. Stelios Arcadia, now known as Stelarc, decided to get an extra part strictly for artistic reasons. The 69-year-old, who now lives in Melbourne, Australia, had an ear sculpted out of biocompatible material surgically attached to his arm, and intends to have a microphone installed in it which would broadcast what he was hearing to the internet, except if he went somewhere with no Wi-Fi. It was a pretty big step up from his other performance art, which involved putting cameras in his lungs or hanging himself from hooks.
Number 4.
It's not common knowledge that female embryos usually develop with a pair of reproductive systems, 2 vaginas, uteruses, etc. They are supposed to merge during gestation, but in an estimated 1 in 3,000 cases, something happens which interferes with the process, resulting in a condition called uterus didelphys. This pair of uteruses can result in pelvic pain or miscarriages, as one of the uteruses is often not fully functional or be so benign that it's not even ever diagnosed. Sarah Reinfelder of Knoxville, Tennessee had a particularly unusual case in 2009 since her pair of uteruses were both functional. When she was impregnated with twins, each one had a uterus of their own to gestate in.
Number 3.
While Reinfelder didn't seem to court the spotlight, in 2012 this then 27-year-old woman went on the British talk show This Morning to describe her 2 vaginas and spread awareness of her condition shortly after doing an AMA thread on Reddit. She claimed she hadn't known that her situation was even at all unusual until she was 18. Jones was completely candid about her condition, joking that it was an icebreaker at parties, and describing how she frequented fetish clubs with her husband. It went so far that she was offered $1 million to appear in a pornographic video. She did not accept the job offer, although she was fine posing for the explicit magazine. Bizarre.
Number 2.
The doctors had never seen anything like it before. When Kang was born, he looked so different that at first, the rest of the family didn't want the baby's mother to see him. But she begged and pleaded, and finally, they put him in her arms. But when she saw her son's face, she was utterly shocked. Kang was born in Hunan province in China with a congenital birth defect known as a transverse facial cleft. His face is separated into 2 sections, and it almost looks like he's wearing a mask. The boy needed surgery to correct his cleft, but the cost of surgery seemed prohibitive at first. The operation would cost around $100,000, money that the family didn't have when their son was born. Still, Kang's mother didn't give up hope and started saving money.
Number 1.
Born with 4 arms and legs in 2005 in Jodhpur, Rajasthan, India during the ceremony for the 8-limbed goddess she was named for, Lakshmi became world famous in 2008 when she was scheduled to have a surgery that would remove the extra limbs. Prior to that, she had been held up as an object of worship in her community, with her mother claiming to have had a prophetic dream that she would be born like this and even a temple built in honor of her. Although the twin was successfully removed in a marathon 27-hour surgery arranged by Dr. Sharon Patel by 2015, it was reported that her family was having difficulty acquiring enough money to pay for her treatments. She was in pain and was not even able to sit down. At present, her family does not seem to have made an arrangement to accept donations online.
Thank you for watching this video on Top Trends. Don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel. See you soon.